Have you ever wondered what would happen if the Philippines banned all Chinese products? Picture this. You walk into your favorite store and entire aisles are empty. Your online shopping cart full of error messages, that new phone you were saving up for, out of stock indefinitely. This might sound like a scene from a dystopian movie, but it could be the reality if the Philippines ever decided to press the nuclear button on trade with China. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow, but it's an interesting thought experiment. The Philippines and China have a complicated relationship, to say the least. On one hand, China is a major trading partner. We're talking billions of dollars in goods flowing back and forth every year. On the other hand, there are those pesky territorial disputes in the South China Sea, and let's not forget China's growing influence in the region. So, could the Philippines actually survive without Chinese goods? Would it be a clean break, or would there be some serious economic withdrawal symptoms? And what about the political fallout? Buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive deep into the hypothetical world of a Philippines without Made in China. Let's be real. Banning all Chinese products overnight would be like jumping out of a plane without a parachute. You're in for a wild ride. The immediate impact on the Philippine economy, let's just say it wouldn't be pretty. Remember those billions of dollars in trade we were talking about? Poof, gone. Think about it. Electronics, clothing, machinery, a huge chunk of these everyday items come from China. And it's not just finished goods. We're talking raw materials and components that Filipino businesses rely on. Suddenly factories might have to shut down, unable to get the supplies they need. Prices for everything would skyrocket as demand outstrips supply. We're talking about inflation on steroids, folks. And it's not like China would just sit back and watch. They'd feel the pinch too, losing a significant export market. But let's be honest, they've got options. They could easily find other buyers for their goods. The Philippines, on the other hand, would be left scrambling to fill the void. Remember that online shopping cart full of error messages? Yeah, that's just the beginning. For everyday Filipinos, this ban would mean a rude awakening. Remember those cheap Chinese-made clothes and gadgets that everyone loves? Gone. Affordable electronics? Say goodbye. Sure, some people might see it as a chance to support local businesses, and yeah, that's great in theory. But the reality is, Filipino companies would struggle to ramp up production fast enough to meet the demand. And even if they could, the cost of producing goods locally would likely be much higher, meaning consumers would have to dig deeper into their already strained wallets. So, get ready for some tough choices, folks. Do you pay exorbitant prices for locally made goods, or do you go without? It's a lose-lose situation for consumers, especially those already struggling to make ends meet. Here's where things get really interesting, or should I say messy. A move like this would send shockwaves through the region and beyond. China wouldn't be thrilled, to say the least. They might retaliate with trade barriers of their own, hitting the Philippines where it hurts. And then there's the geopolitical chess game. The US, always eager to counter China's influence, might see this as an opportunity to strengthen ties with the Philippines. But would that come at a price? Would the Philippines become overly reliant on the US, trading one big brother for another? It's a delicate balancing act, and one wrong move could have serious consequences. The Philippines would need to tread carefully, navigating a complex web of international relations with the grace of a diplomat and the cunning of a poker player. Section 5, the ripple effect, global trade in the balance. This isn't just a local story, folks. We're talking about a move that could shake up the entire global trading system. China has become the world's factory, churning out everything from iPhones to yoga pants. A disruption of this magnitude would send ripples throughout the global supply chain. Remember the Ever Given, that ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal and messed up global shipping for weeks? This would be like that, but on a much larger scale. Businesses around the world that rely on Chinese components would be scrambling to find alternatives. Prices for consumers could rise globally, not just in the Philippines. It would be a wake-up call for the world, a stark reminder of just how interconnected we are and how vulnerable we've become to disruptions in the global supply chain. Section 6, seeking substitutes, a race against time. So let's say the Philippines does go through with this ban. Where do they turn to fill the massive gap left by Chinese goods? It's not like there's a spare China just waiting in the wings. Some countries might see this as an opportunity. Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia. These Southeast Asian neighbors could step up their game trying to grab a piece of the pie. But could they really compete with China on price and scale? Doubtful. The Philippines would need to get creative, looking beyond its immediate region. Maybe India could become a major supplier, or perhaps Mexico, eager to reduce its dependence on the US. It would be a mad dash to secure new trade deals and diversify supply chains. Section 7. Innovation Nation. Could this be the Philippines moment? Necessity is the mother of invention, right? Maybe this whole ban thing could be the push the Philippines needs to finally invest in its own industries. Imagine a Philippines where local businesses are thriving, creating high-quality goods that can compete on a global scale. Instead of relying on cheap imports, Filipino entrepreneurs could seize the moment, developing innovative products and technologies. The government could offer incentives for startups and invest in research and development. It would take time, effort, and a whole lot of capital, but it's not impossible. Who knows, maybe this crisis could be the catalyst for a new era of Filipino innovation and self-reliance. It's a long shot, but hey, stranger things have happened. Section 8. The price of independence. Weighing economic sovereignty. Let's be honest, there's a price to pay for everything. And in this case, the price of economic independence from China would be steep. We're talking about a potential recession, job losses, and a lower standard of living for many Filipinos. The question is, would it be worth it? That's a tough one. Some might argue that the economic pain is a small price to pay for standing up to China and reclaiming national pride. Others might say that it's foolish to jeopardize the economy for a symbolic victory. There's no easy answer, and it's a debate that would rage on in Filipino households, coffee shops, and the halls of government. Section 9, Beyond the Bottom Line, Social and Cultural Impacts. It's not just about the money, folks. This ban would have a profound impact on Filipino society and culture. Remember those K-dramas and C-pop songs everyone's obsessed with? Yeah, those might be harder to come by. The flow of goods goes hand in hand with the flow of ideas and cultural exchange. A ban on Chinese products could lead to a more inward-looking Philippines, less connected to the rest of the world. Of course, some might see this as a good thing. A chance to rediscover and celebrate Filipino culture, free from foreign influence. But it's a slippery slope from cultural preservation to isolationism. Section 10, A World Without Made in China, Lessons Learned. So what have we learned from this little thought experiment? Well, for starters, we've learned that the world is a complicated place and that there are no easy answers. We've also learned that China's influence is vast, and that disentangling ourselves from it would be no small feat. But perhaps the most important lesson is this. We need to start thinking about alternatives. We can't keep putting all our eggs in one basket, relying on one country for so much. It's time to diversify our supply chains, invest in local industries, and build a more resilient global economy. Section 11. The Future of Philippine-Sino Relations, a Delicate Dance. The relationship between the Philippines and China is like a dance, a delicate tango with high stakes and even higher tensions. A ban on Chinese products would be a dramatic misstep, but it highlights the need for careful choreography moving forward. The Philippines must find a way to balance its economic dependence on China with its desire for sovereignty and security. This will require pragmatism, diplomacy, and a willingness to stand up for its interests without resorting to drastic measures. The future of Philippine-Sino relations is uncertain, but one thing is clear, the dance will continue. And it's up to both countries to decide whether it will be a graceful waltz or a clumsy stumble.
You have questions in